I completely forgot to film loading up the horses, but we are on the road to Texas. We're flat! Yay! Yeah, so I'm just driving along through a narrow one-lane construction zone, and my truck all of a sudden is like, hey, your tire pressure is really low. And I was like, oh, that's great. And I check, and it's just like dropping and dropping and dropping. And so I pulled into a gas station and had to change my tire. So that was fun. Stopped for the night at an RV park so the horses could rest and eat and get ready for the drive tomorrow, and I could sleep in the backseat of my truck. Loaded flawlessly at night in the dark that I had, and I was too lazy to open both doors for Talos, so I just opened one and he went right in.
Welcome to Texas.
This was our stop for the night because I had to transport this other horse to his owner that was in Austin, and so Talos rested here for the night, and I went and got him and brought him to the facility in the morning. There you go. I rode him in my new saddle in the warm-up first, and then we went in here just to chill out and make being in the show arena a good experience. I bought the saddle and had it shipped to Texas, and it came in like just in time to actually ride in it, which is great. And it's just like the one I've been borrowing to use on him, so I knew it fit. Give it them as fast as I can. Starbucks, and now it's time for day one of showing. First thing in the morning, I had Julia from Jay's Massage work on Talos, and she always does a really good job. She's worked on him before and worked on my other horses. And so I just had him chilling in the arena, eating his breakfast and enjoying his massage like a true pampered pony.
I think it was. It's not just a meander over here, but it would be.
Here's hit number 15. This is going to be Talos. 7-year-old Sorrel Gelding and Ellen McCutcheon from Snowflake, Arizona.
Going into this class, I'd been working on like getting him all energized and ready in the little waiting area, and I actually forgot to take my treat pouch off, which I was so disappointed about. I didn't even need the treats, I just wanted to give him some so that he'd be extra enthusiastic and happy, because I know that it's hard for him to show, especially back to back after traveling and everything. So I was just giving him some treats, so nothing was really that snappy. That was messy, and yeah, it just wasn't that good. And so this turnaround, oh my gosh, he literally just walked the circle. I promise I practiced these. He didn't, but didn't really look like it that great. And so there was a lot of trotting in this class. I thought that was weird. And there was no feet pickup, which was interesting. They actually did that in the trail. And so here, he just kind of comes up, he just kind of hesitates just a second, and then he's like, okay, I'll get on it. I was so proud of him. Honestly, didn't care about all the other stuff being, you know, not as great as it could have been, because he loaded in the trailer, and I was so happy. Thank you. Gosh, did you read the pattern? Beautiful lope. Hey, you pulled a wyvern.
Trail will be back with our freestyle competition tonight at 6:30, so we invite everybody back around 6 o'clock. We'll be back here for everybody's freestyle. Once again, we'll do that right at 6:30 this evening. All right, here's hit number 15. This is Ellen McCutcheon. Snowflake, Arizona, under 7-year-old Sorrel Gelding. This is Talos.
Alright, so we practiced going over things in the warm-up. There was stuff set up. There was a piece of plywood. There was some spooky stuff that people put on an L-back chute. And we worked on that, and he was spooking at the stuff around the chute because he just doesn't like things that people put on the ground in arenas. On the trail, like the real trail, he's fantastic. He'll go over logs, through puddles, ditches, anything. But things that have been put in arenas are terrifying for poor Talos. And so I knew going into it, it was kind of a hit or miss. Like, was he going to be spooky today, or was he going to be confident? I was definitely anxious in making him feel like being spooky, and so I don't blame him. But the first half of our class was alright. You know, he did everything. He went over the poles. He had some cute little trot serpentines. Oh my gosh, his trot is so cute. And so I was feeling pretty happy about this. This was the part that I knew we could just ace. Unfortunately, our canter transition was a little messy. I think he was just getting tired by this point, so it wasn't great. He kind of threw his head up. And he kind of looked at this pole, but he went over it, and then he was just like, wait, what's happening? We got a little lost, and he spooked, and I was like, okay, whatever. We're just going to walk into the chute and just pretend we were supposed to walk into the chute. And I was talking to him, and I was telling him, good boy, you can see my mouth moving. I was like, alright, well, that wasn't ideal. But I just focused on making our L back as good as it could be. I was like, oh shoot, we back too far. Whatever, move his hip over. This was a little slow, but he did it. He didn't step on the pole. He didn't step out of the box or anything. And then just tried to hesitate before walking to our side pass pole. And so, unfortunately, I definitely didn't line him up perfectly for this side pass pole. I think he was just a little too far back. And so when I had him side pass, he like did it, but it wasn't great. He like kind of moved the pole a little and like stepped on it a bit. So he was definitely too far back, which I blame myself for. Sorry, Talos. It wasn't awful, but it also wasn't very good. And he took one leg at this bridge, and he was just like, no. Unfortunately, I was really disappointed about it, but this bridge was like several layers of wood, and there's a rubber mat covering like part of the top of it, but not all of it. There's brush on the sides, and it's tall, and it's narrow, and it's honestly really scary, and I wouldn't want to go over that if I were. So he started getting frustrated and pawing. He was getting a little cranky at this point, and so I was just like trying not to add too much pressure. Like here, I relaxed all the pressure, and I was like, all right, go forward, and then release. And he backed up. I was like, come on, get forward. And he was just, no. He just decided not today. So after a little while, they excused me. And it always feels like so much longer when you're actually in the ring. And I was just like, come on, like just try it. Just put a foot on it. I knew if he could get one foot on it, he would actually do it. But he just said, not today. This is just him being tired and a little frustrated, and I was definitely stressed, which is making him stressed too. And so, unfortunately, we just had to take that loss and just move on.
Big pretty 7-year-old Sorrel gelding. And we're going to move down the line now, folks. It's going to be drawing 10 and 10 number 15 is where we're going to move now. It's going to be Talos is the horse, a 7-year-old Sorrel gelding. Ella McCutcheon coming to us from Snowflake, Arizona. She's a 19-year-old Mustang trainer. She owns 2 personal Mustangs. And she trains in bridleless, liberty, and jumping. Her mission is to gentle and rehome Mustangs with compassionate approach. Here is hit number 15, the 7-year-old Sorrel gelding. This is Talos. Ella McCutcheon from Snowflake, Arizona.
Alright, so going into this class, you can see he is very tired by this point. I hardly did any warm-up, just kind of kept him moving and making sure that he was still alive and responding to my cues. But he was getting so tired, and so you can see I'm just like nudging him, like, hey, please wake up. Thank God he trotted when I asked him to. I was so worried he was just going to say, no, not today, which, I mean, he has never done before, but he's also never been this tired before. Poor guy. And so I was like just trying to help him through this class. This trot was beautiful, and he actually started to wake up, but this canter transition was a little delayed, which was alright. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best ever. And so I think I made this circle a little too wide, but that's alright. And so I just tried to help him out. By this point, he was getting more awake, and I was so appreciative of that, because when I walked in there, he felt super behind my leg, and I was like, oh no, we're ruined. So that was a bit delayed, but that's okay. Every single horse was like leaning toward the gate because they were all exhausted. So he definitely leaned toward the gate a little bit, and he got a little fussy with his head. He didn't really throw it up, but he was just kind of like, please get me out of here. I'm really tired. And I was like, I know, buddy. We're almost done for today. And so this stop was pretty nice for him. I know he's a big horse, so it's hard for him to stop like a reiner, but he did really good. And so here, I didn't have too much of a plan going into this. I knew I wanted to do like a 180 and then a 360, which he did all right. And then I wanted to 2-track both ways, but I ended up running out of space, so I just 2-tracked left, and it looked a little bit awkward because I just went left, and then I was like, oh shoot, we're out of space. Okay, turn. And then I was like, darn, why didn't I go right first? And then I could have 2-tracked left here. And then I was like, whatever. So by this point, I was just having fun, and people were cheering, and I was just having a great time. And so I did our little stand up, slide down the butt, and then lay him down maneuver that I had practiced. And he laid down really good. He was like a little bit delayed, but I was just super happy that he did it off the belly tap. And I was just like, come on, Talos. And so I was just having fun with this, just showing off my horse and like just having a blast. And he was like, can I just lay here forever, please? And so I was like, all right, get up. And then I was like, wait, that was the end of our plan and we still have more time. So I knew that I'd worked on our walk to lope transitions a lot, and there wasn't one in the preliminaries, so I was like, all right, let's do a walk to lope transition. And it wasn't the best he's ever done, but still nice. And we were gonna do like a stop and roll back, but then we ran out of time. But that's all right, because this stop was pretty nice, and this backup is pretty nice, and yeah.
And there it is for Ellen McCutcheon of Snowflake, Arizona. Talos, 7-year-old. Good job, Ellen. Getting some time on old Talos right there.
We just got this. The night before freestyles, and we're like trying to frantically prepare. I have Julia with me, and it's pouring down rain, and it's so freaky. So I think it's a good sign because I love storms. I have to run across the street and leave my horse with a saddle across the street, and then crossing the street. I'm going super long PVC pipe, and he's halfway cinched up with a sleazy over his saddle. The sleazy's blowing off him now. I need to keep my saddle dry. Yeah. Film the whole team real quick. How did it work? Hearing things. I have no idea what's going on over there.
You want orange down here, orange and yellow up here. I went almost just right here.
Yeah, that looks. He's gonna wear this out there for 3 minutes. What's everyone doing? I'm just kidding. Wow, okay. What do you want to do? Look, I don't know. I don't get paid enough for this. No, Naomi. He's farting on me. She's had an existential crisis.
She had to remember what color was next.
He looks.
I did it, and I was gonna figure
He looks
it
like
out.
a flag.
Oh God! Naomi, what did you do? I felt like a freaking avalanche on my head. I gotta get it out now.
Please don't make me look like a clown.
I think I need to do your. I can't have it. Otherwise, it's gonna look like I made you.
Yeah. I thought she said foil, and I was like, foil. Yeah. Going a little.
I mean, I've inhaled like one breath and I'm going.
Smells like sunscreen. I know. Go on my face. Huh? I thought you were gonna trip and die.
I didn't do it.
The rest of my costume was just plain black, boring. I'm glittery.
It looks good with all the color on it.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to mute the music for copyright reasons. You can go watch it on my channel. So going into the freestyle, I had about 5 people tell me, just go have fun, show off your horse, and finally it clicked. I just went out there with a good attitude, and I just tried to have fun. And trotting over the cavaletti was a little messy. We didn't practice that quite enough. Well, he got the wrong lead here. And so here was where I was just starting to have fun. I improvised. I waved the flag around, which I never used to do in practice. I accidentally picked up a little too much on my inside rein, and he was like, hey, that's a little too much pressure for me. And so he threw his head up a bit there. It looked messy. And then backing through the cones, I heard people cheering, and I was like, wait, they're cheering for this? Okay, here, I actually I went out there and directed setting up my own obstacles, and I set this jump standard here too close to the pedestal, and I messed myself up, so that was nobody's fault but mine. And then I saw it, and I was like, oh, we can make that turn, and we did not make the turn. Here, he was a little confused, and he was like, wait, paw the air. I think he was getting a bit frustrated, so I was like, whatever, move on. People told me it looked like I meant to do that, so I was like, alright, play it off. This turnaround wasn't bad. And then he was like, back on the pedestal? No, Talos, not back on the pedestal. And so I felt him step on the pool noodles, and I was just like, oh boy, okay, whatever. And so people also told me it looked like I meant to do that, and I was like, sure, okay. And so that was like a lazy turnaround because I was worried about this. And so don't step on the snake, Talos. Okay, I actually got my line better this time and didn't walk over the rope. And then going towards this, he jumped it so nice. And then the snake goes flying. And oh my god, it was just so much fun. And then coming over here, I was like, okay, bow's on the ground, whatever, improvise. I don't have time to stand up on his back, so I'm just going to stand on the pedestal. We meant to do that. It would have been really cool if I stood up on his back, but we just didn't have time. And oh my gosh, my feathers were getting stuck to my back. Whoops. And so I just got back on him from the ground. This departure was so nice, and then his lope was just so beautiful here. And this was where I started to improvise and have fun again and just do things that I didn't practice, but I was just like, you know what? I spent so long sewing the feathers on this stupid shirt for a 3.5-minute freestyle. And no, we never miss our leads when we're doing a simple lead change. But he was getting tired, so that's okay. And then here, I got a little lost, and then I was like, all right, jump. And I threw my arms out, which I also never practiced even once, but it was fun. And then he started to go towards the side a bit. That was not one of our best stops, but it was a nice backup. And then I was like, okay, not taking the bridle off, so what do? Let's just do some nice trot figure eights and show off how he can go from super high energy jumping through a curtain to this nice, slow, pretty trot figure eight. So that was really nice. I was really happy with that. And then stopped him and showed off our little trick thing that I always seem to do with him. And I always end up sliding off his butt to the side. Now at this point I was like, okay, we just need to get our lay down. We're almost done. I was tapping his belly, and I was like, oh, we're running out of time. I could hear the music. Normally when I'm running through a freestyle or actually performing, I'm so into it. I don't even my ears just tune out the music. I tune out the cheering most of the time, too. And every now and then I just hear a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's my cue. I have to do this now. And so he started to get up, and I was like, no! And I vaulted onto his back. And I literally had someone come up to me later and was like, you should be a vaulter. And oh my god, I was just over the moon, on cloud 9. Just so happy. And you can see my whole crew coming out to set up props, and Shelby giving me a high five.
Final horse, it was your 7-year-old style gelding, Talos and Ellen McCutcheon.
your reserve champion this evening.
Oh God, this is nerve-wracking.
By just a 6-point spread. Ladies and gentlemen, your reserve champion tonight is hip number 23, Camille White. And your champion gets the big hug right there. Hip number 15, Ellen McCutcheon.
Second, but NTLE came first. Look at that. Say, good job, NTLE. Good job, NTLE. Good job, NTLE. Good job, NTLE.
I'll tell you what, everybody, we're going to start it off with the horse that ended it all and ended up number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your champion right here. Ellen did a phenomenal job. And I'm going to tell you what, if you can't tell how big this horse is right here, Bruce is about 7 feet tall. You can't even see it. Now this is a nice sized horse right here. He's going to be over 15 hands, about 15-1. This is a big, look at his kind eye. He's got a short neck. He's pretty. He's fed up. He looks the part. And this is a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for you to go home with a great Mustang. We talk about it all the time. All the hard work is done. Now you've got a Honda. And this is one of our older horses here too. So you've got that mentality. You've got a 7-year-old horse, not a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. So you've got that maturity of the horse to go home with. And you can tell that packed this horse a long way. Ladies and gentlemen, an opportunity like this does not come along very often. Here is your champion up for bid.
And he's a 7-year-old gelding. When you get out, give me 10,000. 10,000 now, give me 10. Where do you get out? Give me 10. 10,000, give me $1. Everybody play. $1,000. 1,000 now, 1,500 now, 2,000. 2,002, we're 2 now, 25. Now 3, now 35, now 4. $4,000, give me that 4 now, 45. Now 5, 6, 7. $7,000, now give me 7, 7, 8, give me 8, give me 8, give me 8, 8, now 10. $10,000, now give me 10, 10, 95, 10. 10, 10, and we're give me 10, 10, no, I'm gonna be 10, 10, and we're give me 10,000, 10, and we're give me 10. $10,000, now give me 10, 10. You got 9 or 95? 9, now 5, 9,500, 9,500, we're down 95. 9,500, give me 5, we're give me 5. I got 9 on the other side, 9,500, I'll take 2, you wanna do that? 92, 2, 2, and we're give me 2. 92, 2, 2, and we're give me 2. 92. Besides being your champion, top 5 in horsemanship, top 10 in a preview, and a baby dog.
He is just a cool dude right here. Oh man, that's love right there.
Coco, you got 9,000. Now 95. 95, give me 500, give me 5. 9,500, give me 5, give me 5. 95. Let's give that young man a big hand. 9,000. He bought several horses today. Thank you very much. Way to go.
William, cookie, 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 cookie.
Sam.
You'd go and feed, and I would go and work on fences and stuff. And so I didn't get to see Winona for a whole month because they weren't.
I didn't ride Muse.
We showed. That's so cute. We slept in a little. Yeah. He's a good boy.
I'm so proud of you. Well, y'all got some great horses.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so much again. You did amazing.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, he turned to look at us.